Hello students, welcome back to physics class. So today I'll be talking about this fourth chapter of yours, which is light energy. So let's start this video. First of all, let's go through this topic that what actually light is. In the live session I have already told you that why light is actually considered as energy. Okay, because when light is passed, there is seen some movement in the dust particles. That means if light is able to cause some movement in an object, definitely it has got energy, then it is able to transfer those dust particles. So yes, it is a form of energy. But if the question comes that how we have to define this, then you see, light itself is invisible energy. Okay, we can't see light. We can only see the source, but I cannot say like light right now in this room I can see that light is there. But I can't say that okay, light is going from this path or it is coming from that path. No, you can't see light. It is itself an invisible energy, but yes, definitely because of light we are able to see the things around us. So light is an invisible energy which causes us the sensation of vision. We are able to see, or we are actually have our vision because light energy is there. I hope the definition is clear. Let's move further. Now, if we talk about the speed better, the speed of light is really very huge. And if I like elaborate it and tell you, after 3 I have attached 8 zeros. Okay, so according to the number system it will be 30 crore meter per second. So rather than writing such a big word, what we have done, we have written it in this format: 3 and 10 raised to the power 8. 10 having a power of 8. That means 10 is present 8 times. So that's why it got 8 zeros after it. So 3 into 10 raised to the power 8 meter per second is the actual speed of light. And that's why sun being so far from earth, still we are able to receive the first sunlight in just 8 minutes. You got the reason now, because the speed of light is really very huge. Now if we talk about the sources of light, some are natural and some are obviously the artificial ones. What are the natural sources of light? Which are naturally present in the environment, in which human beings have not done any interference. So natural sources of light are obviously the sun, the biggest source of light, and stars also, because they also have their own light. Among the artificial sources of light, we have candle and bulb, which are obviously man-made. Okay, you can think of other examples also which are man-made. You can truly write them away. No problem. Now, if we talk about the next topic, which is bioluminescence. See, wherever this word bio is there, beta, that means it is somewhat related to a living thing. And luminescence means lightening up. So, if there is any living body which is emitting light, then that process is known as bioluminescence. If any living body or living organism is emitting light, like with one we are very familiar with, which is fireflies and glowworms. These are the examples of bioluminescence. These two objects, they don't have any battery or something like that. It is a natural process. It's actually a chemical in their body through which they actually emit light. So we are not doing any charging process in those fireflies and glowworms. They have their natural lights in the body. That's why these are categorized in the bioluminescence, because any living object is actually emitting light. Now let's talk about the next topic, which is luminous objects and non-luminous objects. Luminous means any object which is emitting its own light. It is having light of its own. It does not take it from anything else. It is having its own light. Objects which emit light energy by themselves. That means they are not dependent on anything else. So those objects are your luminous objects. And non-luminous objects are the objects which do not have their own light. They can only reflect the light which is falling on them. Okay, like our body. You are able to see each other just because your body is able to reflect the light. And the light is not entering or passing through your body. So light can only be reflected by your body. But that light will not be considered your own light, because that is only the light of any tube light or any bulb which was there in the room, or because of the sunlight that your body has actually reflected. Now the question arises, that how to make a non-luminous body into luminous. Is it possible that there is any non-luminous object and we can make it into luminous? Yes, it is possible. Suppose if you have wood, okay, till the time the wood is dried, okay, you can't say that, oh, there is wood piece and it is giving out light. No, that's not possible at all. But suppose if the wood was 100% dried and now I have set it to fire, that means I have burned that wood. Then when that wood logs will be burning, you will see that it is emitting light energy. So what have we actually done? For making a non-luminous body into a luminous body, you just have to raise its temperature. And if you raise the temperature or you heat that object, it can become from non-luminous body to luminous body. Even metals also better. If we talk about metals, okay, they can also become luminous. But metals, since they are really very strong, you need to provide them temperatures of 800, 900, 1000 degrees Celsius approximate, so that they can start emitting light. Because once they are set to fire, obviously they will start emitting light. Next question can be in your mind that why moon and the planets are considered non-luminous body. Okay, moon and the planets, you know that they don't have their own light. They only reflect the light. They only reflect the light of sun. Obviously, there is no other source in the universe. Only the sun is there, which is actually the major source of light and heat in the universe. So, how are we able to actually see the moon and the planets? Obviously, they must be reflecting the light of the sun. So, they don't have their own light energy. They're only reflecting it. So, that's why they are called non-luminous body. Now, let's talk about materials, beta. See, when we talk about materials, they're categorized into three types: transparent, translucent, and opaque. Transparent word you must have heard many times in your day-to-day life activities also. Any object through which light can easily pass through. Okay, if light is able to cross any material and is able to pass through it, then that type of material is known as a transparent material. Like one best example is there currently in my hand. You see my writing pad which is there. This board over which I keep my pages and make these videos is actually transparent, because you can see I can easily see through it. So this board is an example of transparent material. Okay, clear water. If the water is clear, it's like pure, then you can obviously see the seabed also if the water is pure. Air is also transparent, that's why we are able to see the things around us. Glass is also transparent. I have already told you the examples of glass only. Next category is better translucent material. Okay, when the light passes through it, but only partially. 100% light can't go through it. Like the best example is the glass which is fitted in the bathrooms. Okay, that is always placed as a translucent glass, so that there is no visibility. Nobody can't see actually inside the bathroom. So through it, the light can only go partially. Examples can be like the tissue paper. You can't see through it completely, but yes, slight visibility is there. Oiled paper also, yes, you can try it. Take a simple A4 sheet also you can take. A simple paper you can take. Just put oil on one side and you'll see that the paper will also become translucent. You will be able to see the things around. And fog. When the weather is foggy, it is not that we are not able to see at all. Yes, we are able to see, but only partially. Not 100% visibility is there. The last category is better opaque. Light does not pass through these materials at all. Like if I take my example of my hand. If suppose I'm like turning on a tube light, or let's take example of torch. If I'm turning on a torch and I put that torch over my palm. Okay, this is the torch and I place my hand just exactly in front of it. Obviously the light is not going to come from this side. And what is the reason? Because my hand is opaque material. Light can't go through it. It will obstruct it. So when the light is completely obstructed, it is called an opaque material. What are the examples? The metals, cement, wood, and our body. All these are examples of opaque material. I hope it's clear. Now let's see you should be very very clear about this topic at least, and last year also you have studied that light always travels in a straight line. Okay, so the path, if I have to show the direction, that in which direction actually the light is traveling, then I have to use this arrow, and it is named as ray. Path along which the light energy travels is given a direction, and it is called ray. If the light is going in this direction, you will write down like this. If the light is going in upward direction, you will make an arrow like this. If the light is going in left direction, you will make an arrow like this. So this is drawn just to show an arrow. Now light does not go as a single ray only. When there is a large number of light rays going together, then that is known as beam. When many light rays they are going together, then that is collectively known as beam. So the definition is also very very easy. Collection of large number of rays is called beam of light. Now next is the type of beams. A very very easy topic. If I talk about a parallel beam, when all the rays they are moving in a parallel format, then this type of beam is known as parallel beam. Next is convergent beam. If all the rays are coming from different directions and they all are meeting at a single point, then this is known as convergent beam. And if they start from one point and then the rays are going in different directions, then it is known as divergent beam. And beta, in this chapter about one thing you have to be very very sure, that you have to make these arrows to show the direction. If the light is going from left to right, so you have to put this arrow like this. Rays are coming from different directions and they are meeting at a point, so you have to show it with this arrow. If I make a diagram without the arrow, nobody will be able to understand that whether the rays were going out or they are coming inside into one point. So making the arrows is very very important whenever you are talking about this chapter of light. I hope you are getting my point. Next is now propagation of light. The meaning of propagation is actually that how the light travels. So light always travels better in a straight path. Light always travels in straight path. If light is going like this and we obstruct it, so light is not going to make a curve and then it will go in further direction. No, that's impossible. Light will obviously be get struck over there. So light always goes only in a straight path. And that straight path has actually got a special word in physics, and that is known as beta rectilinear propagation of light. Rectilinear you already know, in chapter 2 you have already studied this word. It means going in straight direction. Rectilinear means straight and propagation means traveling. So in total this complete word is actually that light is traveling in a straight direction. Next comes your shadow, and the best example that I can give you is actually showing you the live demonstration. See, light is actually coming from the left side of this room, and I am I'm obstructing it with my hand, and you know that my hand is opaque. So you can clearly see that there is some dark color patch which is getting formed on the paper. This is only the shadow. Currently you can see that my pen is also, the sketch pen is also forming a shadow. My hand is also forming a shadow. So this dark color patch which is formed on the screen, currently the paper is the screen. This dark color patch which is formed on the screen, when the path of the light is disturbed, see, if you are going to allow the light to come on the paper, there will be no shadow. But if you will obstruct the path, obviously there will be this dark patch formed. So this dark patch is only known as the shadow. And obviously beta, shadow will be formed when the object will be opaque, which is disturbing the path of light, which will be opaque. If it is a transparent material, then obviously there will be no shadow. The obstruction which you are creating in between should be opaque in nature. Then only that black color patch can be formed. Now students, I request you that after watching this video, your actually exercise 4.1 is done. Please solve the objective part of the book. And then in the live session, I will be taking all the doubts. This chapter is very very easy. Kindly go through it. If you are having any doubt, so we'll discuss them in the live sessions. Thank you.